now.
Heyo, welcome to Bloodhaus, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkel.
And I'm just one of many other ancient Gothic beings we'll be meeting on this episode of Bloodhaus. Welcome to another week, Josh.
Hello. It is a very special episode of Bloodhaus. It is, in fact, our third anniversary because we launched on Valentine's Day 3 years ago. Now it's kind of awkward timing. We can't control when Mondays land. We're not gods. So, in fact, it is President's Day. But Friday of last week was Valentine's Day. This is the closest we could get. So here we are, 3 years in.
They always say that like 50th anniversary is silver or whatever. The first anniversary is paper. Or, like, I don't know where those traditions come from. But I did.
They feel pagan.
They I love how excited and how quick you were to hop on that.
They feel pagan. I don't know if they are.
If there's any kind of old tradition or ritual, it's very quick. Joshua, it's pagan. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, you could be right. It's just funny.
Yeah.
But I was looking up what the third anniversary is before this episode. Apparently it's leather.
Ooh, that's you.
We should have done cruising.
Yeah. That would have been good. We could go both put on our leather jackets and come back if you want to, but it's a little hot in here.
I'm too sleepy to put on a leather jacket right now. It is very early when we record these. I am wearing full pajamas and a duster length cardigan.
I'm wearing a Criterion ball cap and a sweatshirt that says Erewhon should leave me alone.
That's so funny.
Yeah. I'm very sleepy as well. It's quite early in the morning. Today we are getting right into it because, as we always do for special episodes, we're doing a double feature.
Woo-hoo.
And it being Valentine's Day, we were looking for something a little romantic, and then we decided maybe we'll focus on one director. So that is what we have done. We've talked about this director a lot, but never covered one of their movies that I can remember.
We've nearly mentioned him in every episode.
It feels like it. It does feel that way. So anyway, we are covering today 2 works from the master Guillermo Del Toro. We are watching Crimson Peak and The Shape of Water. Let's start with Crimson Peak because it came out first. Crimson Peak came out in 2015. It is a gothic romance starring Tom Hiddleston, Jessica Chastain, and the great, and I miss this person a lot, Mia Wasikowska. I really miss her.
Wasikowska.
Is that
I
Wasikowska.
think she's incredible in this movie and in general. She was in Only Lovers Left Alive, which we covered, but she also was in the Park Chan-wook movie Stoker, which I'm obsessed with, which has a lot in common with this movie.
Yes.
She also was the lead in David Cronenberg's kind of underrated LA thriller Maps to the Stars.
Yeah.
She
was in those god-awful Alice in Wonderland movies that Tim Burton shut out, but that's not her fault.
The last thing that I think I've seen her in was Bergman Island a few years ago, but even she wasn't the total lead in that.
Well, she left acting. She didn't want to be an actor anymore. So
really?
Yeah, she was like, I don't like this. I don't want to spend my life in a trailer. I miss Sydney. And so she's just presumably living in Australia, doing whatever, not being an actor, doing something that makes her happy, I hope.
Good for her.
I always love it when people do that. I love it. Like that really hot actor who plays Jake in 16 Candles is one of those where like he was like, I don't like acting. I'm not going to do it anymore. And he's been living in upstate New York as a carpenter, happy as can be ever since.
I love that.
I love it. Yeah.
Honestly, good for you.
Yeah, good for you.
That makes me really, really, really happy.
Yeah. But it's a loss for us because she's a great actor.
It's just so interesting and fascinating how from about 2010 to about 2015, 2016, maybe 2017, 2018. There's about 5 years there where she was like the it girl.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jim Jarmusch, Guillermo Del Toro, Tim Burton, David Cronenberg, Park Chan-wook, like Mia Hansen-Løve. She's like acted with some of the best directors ever. She also was the lead in the Cary Joji Fukunaga Jane Eyre too. Like,
oh yeah, I loved that.
Yeah, like she's crazy talented, and
Crazy
there was
talented.
a moment in which like so much like contemporary, big budget and indie cinema was marked by her presence. So you can
she
kind
has
of like
that rare
signify
gift
time.
of yes. She has that rare gift of like turning in a performance that is very simple and understated, but also like really, really deep.
Mm-hmm.
This is like such a Josh reference because it's so specific and basically nobody except for some of our listeners would know what this means. But it always means she reminds me of like Zora Lampert in Let's Scare Jessica to Death,
Yeah.
because it's such a quiet, small performance, but it's just got so many layers and it's so deep. That's what Mia turns in, I feel
She's
like.
also really good at like falling away into a character too. Well, like
Yeah.
she can do character roles, like really like out of left field character roles, and you completely buy it. But then she can also be like an ingenue lead in something like Crimson Peak or the god awful Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland movies. It's really amazing how well she can turn on a dime, because her performance in something like this versus Stoker versus Maps of the Stars are like, on paper I could see them being perceived thematically as similar roles, but she performs them all radically differently and inhabits them radically differently, and they're incredible.
I saw this movie for my birthday. It came out around Christmas, I guess, because my birthday is December 21st. So it must have come out around that time, the year that it came out. And to be honest, I wasn't that into it. I mean, I liked it okay. I thought it was like a 3-star movie when I saw it. But I was really disappointed because I wanted to see it so bad because it was like a new gothic movie, gothic romance, and I was so excited. And I just came away from it feeling like, that was all right. But I thought of it a lot, and I've watched it more times since then, and it's like really grown in my estimation. And now it's a movie I like quite a lot. Mm-hmm. But I used to have a really hard time with Guillermo Del Toro.
There it is.
I don't know why. It's maybe an aesthetic thing. His movies are very comic booky, which I mean as like a value neutral statement, except that that's not always my favorite thing. But now I like him quite a bit more. I really like this movie. I watched Shape of Water this week for the first time, which I loved. I really liked his Nightmare Alley. So he's somebody who's like growing on me a lot.
I weirdly like Guillermo Del Toro has kind of like been a big presence in cinema for a long time. And I remember like everyone always talking about Blade 2 when I was young. I very vividly remember Pan's Labyrinth coming out and seeing like ads for it all over the newspaper. That
was
were
a big
like
moment.
It was a big moment, and it was like, as literally like a child in Indiana, I was very young when it came out. It just looked like, all I saw was, I didn't see any clips from the movie ever. All I saw was just like the key art and promotional campaigns that were like
the hands with the eyes in them was a big moment. Like that was everywhere.
But I just remember seeing the poster of like, you know, the big archway and the girl like walking down in, and it looked like a crazy, dark, awesome like fairy tale movie. And I was reading Series of Unfortunate Events books at the time and was obsessed with those. And I was like, this looks awesome. And every single advertisement for it in the like newspaper, at least in Indiana, would be like a big print of the poster in like a middle of like 17 other things on a page. And then on top of the poster, it would say not suitable for child audiences. It was like it was like strongly like not for children. Because it was like, it looks like a fairy tale. So I could see people being like, oh, okay, whatever. But it's like, it's rated R. It's not for children. It's like horribly violent. And I was like, what is this? Yeah. And so like it stuck in my mind for a long time before I finally saw it. And then I remember like the Hellboy movies being really, really, really big. around that time. And so I just like very quickly, I think I saw the Hellboy movies first from him, and then which I'm kind of neutral on. They're fine. It's just that kind of superhero story is not my cup of tea.
Right.
But they're exceptionally well made. But then it was finally seeing Kronos and The Devil's Backbone, and eventually finally Pan's Labyrinth when I was in high school, that I was like, oh yeah, these are fucking amazing. And I watched Pan's Labyrinth so much. And so when Crimson Peak came out, it was right after Pacific Rim, which is probably closer to his Hellboy movies because it's like big kaiju monster movie, like dudes in suits, very like Neon Genesis Evangelion, which is not my thing.
Yeah.
I'm like the one trans woman on the earth that doesn't like Evangelion, but whatever. So I was like, I didn't like Pacific Rim. And so the idea of like, he's making a new horror movie and it's like a super gothic inspired kind of throwback to Mario Bava and Vincent Price. I was so excited, but I was living in Chicago at the time and I was going to college and I had no money to go see a new release at the cinema. And a friend of mine was begging me to go see it constantly. He was like, it's so good. It's made for you. You're going to love it. And it's not going to be in theaters long because it's not doing well. And I regret having missed it. But then I think it like, they put out screeners for award season pretty quickly after it came out, or maybe it was put on VOD pretty quickly after it came out, because I ended up watching it that way not long after. And then I remember going back home to Indiana around the holidays, and I watched it like 3 times around the holidays after that, because I watched it again because I wanted to see it again, and then my mom and my stepdad wanted to watch it, so we all watched it together and they loved it. So like in my little bubble, it was a hit and it was great, and like I loved it, my family loved it, and people I knew loved it. And it wasn't for quite a bit that I realized, oh, it was a massive bomb.
Yeah. It was supposed to have starred Benedict Cumberbatch and Emma Stone, who both dropped out. Isn't that wild? I can't imagine Emma Stone. I guess I can, after seeing Poor Things and stuff like that. I guess I can imagine her, but
it's funny that, I mean, I can imagine both of those people in the movie, but it's just funny that in Hollywood circles, they're like, get us an Emma Stone type, and they bring you Mia Wasikowska, and you're like, perfect. Like, I can see the producer math on that, or the casting director math of like, who's someone that's like Tom Hiddleston? You're like, I think this is Tom Hiddleston's best performance, by the way.
You know, he's somebody who like, I think he's a really great actor. He doesn't rank for me. You know what I mean? I just like don't care about him at all. Although I really like him in this, and I really like him in Only Lovers Left Alive, and that's maybe all I've ever seen him in. I don't know. Yeah. Just like he's somebody I don't really think about. Like, unlike Jessica Chastain or Mia Wasikowska, who I like quite a bit.
I actually, I kind of, okay, I'm about to be scorched from the internet for saying this. I kind of don't care about Jessica Chastain.
I don't. That's true. I don't really either, to be honest. But I do think she's great here.
I don't. You know, I don't hate her, but I also like. I'm like, meh. So
right. She's not my actress. Every gay has to have an actress, and she's not mine.
Yes.
And in fact, the first movie I ever saw her in was that movie with Michael Shannon, where he plays like a paranoid delusional who thinks that there's like a big storm coming. I can't remember what it's called. Take Shelter. That was the first thing I ever saw her in. I didn't know that she was Jessica Chastain, but I had heard that name and I was like, who's this woman? She's actively bad in this movie. And then I looked her up and I was like, oh my God, that's Jessica Chastain. And so for a long time, I thought she was horrible until Crimson Peak. And I was like, oh, she's great in this.
She's incredible in Crimson Peak. Yeah.
This movie is a gothic romance. It's set in the Victorian era, which is delicious.
But American Victorian era.
American and British Victorian, because we moved from America to England. And Mia plays a young, wealthy woman who's an intellectual, an aspiring author. Her father's a wealthy industrialist. Tom Hiddleston's character is an English baron who comes across trying to get money from her father. Her father instantly doesn't like this baron. The baron is moving in on Mia, and his eccentric sister is in town with him. The father ends up getting murdered, and what is Mia's character's name? I keep calling her Mia.
Edith Cushing.
Edith.
Yeah.
So Edie falls in love with this baron once her father is dispatched, moves across the sea to Allerdale Place. And she doesn't know, but we know that there's a plot against her and they just want her money. Also, I should mention that her mother died when she was quite young, and the ghost of her mother appeared before her and said, "Beware of Crimson Peak." And spoiler alert. Yeah. Spoiler alert. At some point when she's living in this decaying mansion in England, we learn that its nickname locally is Crimson Peak because it sits on a bed of red clay deposits and is slowly sinking into the earth.
And so it's constantly, in one of my favorite kind of Guillermo Del Toro touches, he loves to add in aesthetic purposes that kind of externalize the characters' inner lives, and kind of just really find a way to visualize the subtext of the movie. And so in Crimson Peak, he has this red clay soiled mine that they're working on, and because the house is sinking into it, there's just these long tendrils of blood red goop sliding down the walls all the time, and some rooms have a lot more of it than others, and it literally looks like Hammer horror movie blood. It's the color of 60s movie blood. And then when there is actually blood in this movie, it's more realistic, but it's so fun that he gets to have his cake and eat it too.
Yeah, and the way that they step on the floorboards in a certain way and the red clay comes oozing through.
And of course it's kind of set around winter, and when the house gets snowed in, then they're walking through the snow, and the more they step on the land, the red rises up under their footprints in the snow. It's it's absolutely a deep embedded writing choice from a director that's thinking visually.
And the attic is full of black moths and just stuff like that. It's very, he's a visual guy, right? And that's part of what I was responding to when I said that he's literally comic booky because he loves comic books and has adapted a lot of them. But I think he's somebody who, my assumption of him is that he thinks visually first and then sometimes reverse engineers ways to put images in the script.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Which is not bad. It's just,
the amount of research and previs that he does, because he hires, sketch artists and storyboard artists and comic book artists and stuff like that to help him flesh out the world of these movies in advance. And he'll spend months just designing the rooms in a sketchbook and being here's all the books you would have. Here's
the sets in these movies.
Here's the here's the the kind of insects that live in Crimson Peak, and you're okay.
Yeah,
and they're
it's not grounded in the real world at all. The sets are just my favorite thing about both of these movies. I want to live in these sets. I deeply love them. I am not personally crazy about the way that the ghosts look in this movie, which was a part of my original disappointment. It's a matter of taste, but they are CGI. And I would rather just see people as ghosts.
Well,
personally.
The unfortunate thing is they were shot with live performers on the day. They're both Doug Jones, by the way. Indiana's own Doug Jones playing both mothers as ghosts.
Yeah.
He performs them wonderfully. Of course, he has a very specific way of moving that makes things look uncanny, and that's perfect for that kind of stuff.
It's cool, really cool.
And then they add a lot of CGI on top of that, which can be hit or miss.
I would rather them just be practical in some way.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them, again, the super Guillermo del Toro thing, down to back to Devil's Backbone, is he loves a ghost that defies the law of gravity. So a lot of them will have water or something lifting off vertically from them as if they're underwater.
Yeah.
which is an incredible effect. It's a lot more realistic in Devil's Backbone than it is in Crimson Peak, which is unfortunate. I don't know how they did in Devil's Backbone, by the way, because that was 2001.
I haven't seen that since the early 2000s. I don't really remember a single thing about it. Unfortunately, I didn't really like it at the time, but I probably would like it now. I bet
it's Pan's Labyrinth for boys, basically.
I also didn't like Pan's Labyrinth when it came out. I saw it and I just like never really liked Guillermo Del Toro until Crimson Peak. And since then, I've liked everything that he's done. I mean, my experience of him was that like he came on the scene with these like really arty sort of Spanish language horror fantasy films. I saw those, didn't especially like them at that time. I need to rewatch them. Then he kind of gets sucked up into like mainstream blockbuster comic booky movies, all of which I miss, except for Pacific Rim. I did see that.
He was kind of balancing between those. I should note. Every like arty horror film he makes, he would then go and make a studio comic book movie. So it was like he made Kronos, and then he got Mimic, and then he got Blade
I forgot
2,
about Mimic.
and then Devil's Backbone, and then Hellboy, and then Pan's Labyrinth, and then Hellboy 2. Like it's constantly kind of like a one for them, one for me kind of thing to a degree, but I think they're all for him. But did he clearly
did he make any arty movies between Pan's Labyrinth and Crimson Peak?
No.
That's the period that I mean.
Yes.
Like, that's a good 10 years almost, right?
Yeah.
Like so I just
he
like
also just like didn't get a lot off the ground at that point because he was
doing The Hobbit for a while, right?
He was attached to The Hobbit for a long time.
Yeah.
He was attached to at the Mountains of Madness for a long time.
Right.
He was attached to a lot of projects that didn't happen, which is really unfortunate.
I mean, this movie was in development for a long time. He wrote the spec after Pan's Labyrinth, so it was like kind of kicking around for a good long while before it got made. So anyways, I just like wasn't tracking him during that time because I'm not the kind of person who would go see Hellboy. Sorry to seem snobby. I'm not that kind of person, or Blade. So I just kind of lost track of him. But since this movie, I've really liked everything he's done. I really love Crimson Peak. I really love Nightmare Alley. I really love Shape of Water. So I'm all in on Del Toro now. But it was a long journey.
I will say, as a quick aside, the only one I really don't like is Nightmare Alley. I was a little disappointed by it, but solely because I love the 1947 Nightmare
I've never
Alley
seen the original
so
Nightmare Alley
much, and the Del Toro version, like it's the best thing that it adds is it like gives back the original ending from the book, which is technically in the 47 one, but he adds a little bit. They were forced to add a little bit more at the end, but I think a lot of the tension and suspense of that movie is let out immediately from the Del Toro version, and it doesn't work as well, and it just kind of feels like a rote meditation on fate rather than operating as a suspense thriller in the way that it should. I don't know. It works in the way it works as a like kind of like dramatic period film well enough, but I think it's overlong, and I think it pales in comparison to the original film, which is
I'd love to see the original. I haven't seen it, but I really enjoyed that movie. And I'm looking forward to whatever he does now. As long as
Pinocchio is incredible. You would love his Pinocchio.
I forgot that he did that. I'm looking forward to anything he wants to do next, as long as it's not a comic book movie. I'm not in for that. Sorry. But I do feel even still like there are like little aesthetic choices here and there that I don't really like because they feel grounded in some sort of like comic book aesthetic that I don't really love. You know what I love about this movie, though, that could be argued as comic booky is the lighting, but I attribute that more to Mario Bava than I do like
flat
comic
Mario
books.
Bava.
I love that one half of a person is lit in red and the other half is lit in green. It's very Mario Bava. It's very creep show. It's, like I love the lighting in this.
I know, I remember he said in an interview that the big Bava inspiration for this was Kill Baby Kill, which is a very underrated Gothic Bava. I mean, everyone always goes to like Black Sunday and Black Sabbath and things like that. And like it's also a ghost movie, and like there's like, kids and witches and ghosts, and it's It's absolutely incredible. I really, really love that movie. And I think part of the reason I love Crimson Peak so much was that it came out at the time that I was falling in love with those kinds of movies and stories.
Yeah.
I was just falling in love with the like Roger Corman, Edgar Allan Poe movies, which also have similar, very, very, very stylized lighting techniques. I like Haunted Palace and The Pit and the Pendulum. And I was just discovering really earnestly the Mario Bava Gothic films and Giallo films. And so for like a big budget multi-million-dollar version of that coming from Universal and a director I loved, I was so excited. And I think it lives up to that. Well, also from a writing standpoint and a narrative standpoint, I think also honors the literary tradition of Gothic writing.
Yeah, we got lots of Wuthering Heights here. You know, lots of Rebecca. I thought of a lot. Not that
a
that's
lot of that
classic
Daphne du Maurier
literature,
vibe.
but yeah,
I adore Rebecca. By the way,
love it. Love.
It should also be noted that before Del Toro became a director, two things. One, he funded his first movie, Kronos, by founding a special effects and makeup effects company in Mexico, because no one was doing that to provide that kind of work for horror movies. So he founded a company that could do that, so then he could fund and do the effects for his first movie.
That feels very Los Spookies.
Right?
Yeah.
But even before that, his first like big anything in the film world was he wrote and published the first Spanish language book on Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh.
Which is incredible. I think like in his early 20s, he just devoted like all of his life to Alfred Hitchcock and wrote this massive book, both like on Hitchcock's life, but also like on every single one of the films.
Yeah.
So like something like there's a lot of Rebecca and Suspicion and Notorious in here, which are like, because those are all kind of, there was a moment in kind of 40s Hollywood Gothic filmmaking that were like Rebecca was like the crest of the wave. It came out in 1940. It won Best Picture. It was a huge fucking deal. And it's kind of established around a gaslight narrative. Of course, Gaslight comes from the name of the play and then the movie Gaslight, which didn't get a Hollywood film adaptation until 1944. There was, I think, an early 40s, early 30s one from England, from the director of Queen of Spades, actually. But so many Hollywood Gothic movies from that period circle around that gaslight trope of a Victorian woman who is forced into marriage for financial status or because she's swindled into romance by a man. But due to the general, like, societal constraints, you just suddenly move in and live with a man within a little time of knowing him. And you lose all connection to your family. Now you live in a different part of the world and you live in a house that's unfamiliar to you, surrounded by people that are unfamiliar to you. And you feel paranoid and suspicious, and at any moment, like your husband is going to kill you. And it's one of my favorite genres of all time. I love it. It's like absolutely the forebearer to the like 60s, 70s psychotic women filmmaking as well.
My favorite movies.
And I deeply, deeply, deeply love it. So the discovery of in these stories, it's always like a nugget of like suspicion into the husband. It's always like, he's trying to kill me. And a lot of the times following that leads to a reveal of a secret.
Yeah.
Which will be your like narrative conclusion to a degree. And so it's always like, oh, he's trying to murder me for my money. The jewels up in the attic. He's trying to drive me crazy, turning down the gas lights and make me look like I'm insane. And sometimes, like a lot of times, sometimes the husband's not trying to kill them, but he's got a different secret of his own. The Fritz Lang movie, Secret Beyond the Door, is one of my favorite examples of that. Crimson Peak does both.
Yeah.
It has its cake and it eats it too. So he is trying to kill her for her money. He's killed other women for their money. But also, no, he loves her and he doesn't want to kill her this time. But Jessica Chastain does. But also there's a secret family. There's this like a family secret, that two family secrets that are being buried, and they're both like deeply entrenched in Gothic literature, which are the murder of a parent.
Yep.
And ding 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 incest.
Incest. Yes, he has had an inbred baby with his sister that died. That's one of the ghosts, and also he's fucking his sister. They're deeply in love. It is interesting now hearing you talk about that. It strikes me that Guillermo Del Toro did not choose to like apply a layer of contemporary kind of pop feminism to the character of Edith, which I think most directors probably would.
Yeah.
And in some ways, it's hard to like enjoy Edith because she's a mark, right? She comes across as like pretty weak. And I find myself like wanting to shake her and be like, wake up, bitch. Like, it's so obvious. Her father knew right away. He knew the second that he met this man that he
and then
was
her
a
father
danger.
is also murdered suspiciously. And
yeah.
not long after her father's murder, she's like, I'll marry this guy anyway.
Yeah. Oh my God. She reminded me of my brother used to be married to this horrible woman that my whole family hated. And she just like was whiny all the time and just like very weak. And my mom is like the sweetest, kindest person in the entire world. But we were at the family cabin that we rented sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it was winter and she was crying. And my mom was like, why are you crying? And she was like, it's just so cold. And I blah, blah, blah. And my mom was like, are you crying because you're cold? It was just like it's like a classic line. And that's what Edith reminded me of sometimes. That's like, she's funny. Like, she's kind of whiny. She's pretty weak. Yet I'm glad that it's like, I'm glad that it's like honest to the genre and they didn't do like a cheesy, facile.
Yeah, she is both honest to the genre and to the period, but she is still independent to a degree. But that's still in a way that feels like if Jo March was planted into a Daphne du Maurier novel.
I love that she's an intellectual. I love her glasses. Mm-hmm. I love that she has class consciousness.
Yeah.
She hates billionaires, but then marries one. Just like a white woman does.
I mean, she's from money.
I know.
Well, she technically marries down, so.
She does actually, which is part of why she hates the house.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a dynamic especially at this time going on between Americans and Brits that I think, you know, I don't know if you ever watched Downton Abbey, but the matriarch of that, the younger matriarch is American and everyone else is British. And they pointed out a lot. And at some point, I think they're talking about they get electricity in the house, which the elder matriarch hates, of course, because it's too bright and gaudy. And at some point she's like, I'm an American. I don't share your distaste for discomfort. I don't share your distaste for comfort. You know what I mean? It's like that dynamic is really playing out here.
Well, it's very like, you know, the old money, new money thing. I haven't seen Downton Abbey, but I adore stuff like Scorsese's Age of Innocence, and like I love anything that approaches that period.
Edith
from
Wharton
East Coast
novels.
From like East Coast America, because like it's such a fascinating time geographically, because like in England they're like struggling with this concept of modernity and they're still very much living at that time. In America on the East Coast, it's very like there's a new sense of affluence that there isn't a show from the creator of Downton Abbey that's now set in New York. After
the Gilded Age.
The Gilded Age, yeah. Like, yeah. And so, like, it's very kind of odd for us to, like, look back at, like, turn of the century New York and think that it looks like London, but it did. But then
it's Buffalo, too. It's not even New York City. It's, like, Buffalo.
Yeah. And then you move out west and it's literally like the OK Corral. Like,
yeah.
it's
the Wild
crazy
West
to me. Yeah, it's literally the Wild West. And so that's how something like in like Bram Stoker novels, you can have a literal cowboy showing up as a character to try and kill a vampire, and you're like, actually, this works.
Period. Correct. Yeah. I mean, the Victorians are like, this is like my favorite era, right? That's why Goths love it so much too. Is like, in one way, they're very repressed. But in another way, they are not. I mean, they're very close to death.
Yeah.
death is all around these people. They go on first dates in cemeteries and have picnics in cemeteries. They take photos of dead bodies as like keepsakes. They make art out of their dead loved ones' hair. They turn mourning attire into, you know, $1 billion fashion industry. So death is all around these people, and it's like they live and breathe it. And so it just makes this period so fascinating. And of course, the aesthetic of it is like incredible.
Yeah, of course. I will also say the costume design in this movie is
beautiful. These reds are like mwah.
When they had the Guillermo Del Toro Monsters at Home exhibit at LACMA a few years ago, I went so many times. First of all, I remember bursting in tears in front of his life-size mannequin of Ray Harryhausen. I don't know why. Every single time I saw it, it made me cry. I adore Ray Harryhausen, but they had a lot of the original costumes from Crimson Peak, along with like a first edition of like Charles Dickens' Bleak House, and I was like, yeah, that's fucking right. And seeing them in person was absolutely amazing. The costume design in this movie is the costume design and production design in both of these movies, but in this movie especially, is top fucking tier.
Jessica Chastain's red dress, it's like,
yeah,
absolutely incredible.
Oh my god, I'm so fucking obsessed with it. I think this movie is like, I think on an aesthetic level, this is one of his richest films. Period, which is saying a lot considering that this is a director whose entire output is based in aesthetic obsessions. I do also love how much, and we'll get into this a lot more with the second film, but it makes sense for this one to be a period set film because we're dealing with a genre that has like a temporal tie. But almost all of his other you could say more arty movies, things that don't have a like IP behind them outside of I guess Pacific Rim is an original script, are all period films.
Yeah.
And very, very intentionally, and a handful of them connected to wars. Almost all of them connected to wars.
Yeah.
Cold Wars or civil wars or otherwise. Even Pinocchio is reset around the rise of fascism in Italy.
Well, Pacific Rim is actually if the future is a period, right? Like, alternate timeline. Which I would argue the next movie is part of an alternate timeline too. It's like a sort of steampunky version of the 60s, right? In a way.
Yeah, to a degree.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you know, it's like Robert Eggers in an interview recently. Someone's like, "Would you ever make a movie that's not a period piece?" And he was like, "No." Like, very simply, like, not interested.
I think he specifically said, like, how am I supposed to shoot a phone or a car?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
No.
I get it because I am somebody who loves things being beautiful, which bumps up against my socialist politics all the time. But like, I look at a movie like like a Victorian period piece or even a 60s period piece, and everything looks so beautiful. And the world is less beautiful than it used to be aesthetically. And I also know part of why the world was so beautiful was because of great cruelty and injustice and things like slavery and free labor or underpaid labor and blah, blah, blah. So I'm not an idiot. Like I'm not blind to the injustice that allowed the world to look that beautiful. And I know that life is better now than it was then. But like, our world is not as beautiful because we don't have a monoculture. We have less conformity. Our world is less beautiful because of all of these good things. But all of that is just to say, I get it. You know, like I am interested in the aesthetics of the past as well.
Mm-hmm. I also think, like, narratively and thematically, you can get away with saying something a lot louder if you cloud it in period clothing.
Yeah.
About contemporary concepts and issues, and you can kind of tuck it away into a different time. Yeah. And you can be a lot more blatant about making a movie about the rise of fascism in 2022 if you said it in Italy in the 30s and 40s and with a puppet, or if you want to talk about like xenophobia by sticking it into the 60s, at the height of the civil rights movement and at the Cold War. Like,
yeah. Well, in that way, a period becomes like a literary device, right? It becomes like part of your toolkit as a writer or director in this case, or both.
I think it's very, very intentional. And I think there's something to be said about how someone wrote an article recently about why all of the quote unquote great directors haven't made a contemporary movie in a long time, citing PTA and Tarantino and Scorsese and Del Toro and Robert Eggers and like all these people. And it's like, what does that say about the time that we are living?
Yeah.
That it's hard to make a good film, a good piece of art reflective of the current society we're in.
I've been obsessed with this for years now, since 2020. But at some point in 2020, I was driving around. Of course, the world was falling into, a shithole at that time for reasons that everyone knows. But I was driving around to Los Angeles and I thought to myself, how did the world get this ugly? Like literally ugly. You know what I mean? Like
gray and beige are like really
and
big.
Like these disgusting modern buildings that fall apart. All of our products are cheap. All of our clothes are falling apart. I'm like, how did this happen? And it sounds like a stupid question perhaps at first, but once you start digging at it, it's like really deep and there are all these reasons. And a lot of them are for good. Like, in the 20s, everything beautiful in LA is from the 1920s. And that's because of huge amounts of inequality. Like the people who built these beautiful buildings got paid almost nothing. And we had robber barons and like all of these reasons. Right. And so I don't know. It's really tempting to romanticize the past, not even as a filmmaker, as just a person, because literally, aesthetically, there are periods where everything is really beautiful and that is lost.
I know. I spend, my girlfriend and I go to so many estate sales and get to like step inside these like outrageous homes and mansions from the 20s and 30s and 40s and the 60s out here, half of which will be torn down by the time we leave them.
Yeah.
Because the new owners want the property, but not the home.
Chris Pratt was just in the press last year because he bought literally a historic mid-century home because he wanted the land, tore it down and erected like a giant McMansion farmhouse. And I'm like, death penalty, absolute death penalty. And, like I'm somebody who loves interior design and people are only buying like antiques and vintage furniture really because everything that's new is so badly made.
Yeah.
Even luxury versions of new things are badly made. Right. And there's a whole movement called the right to repair movement that's kind of popping off because people have started to figure out that their electronics, their washer, dryer, dishwasher, telephones, all of these things are made such that they fall apart really quickly. So you have to replace them. And so there's this movement of people are advocating for laws to be passed that things have to be built such that they can be repaired. Like you used to have a TV repairman come over and fix your TV,
It's because these are industries like phones and mattresses. You should, in theory, only need one in your lifetime.
That's
maybe a second if something calamitous happens and, insurance is there for that. But these companies can't make more money and they can't keep, impressing their investors if they plateau. So everything now has to be like have tech involved in it, and everything has to be have like you can own. If you take it anywhere else, you voided the warranty. You might as well throw it in a river.
Mm-hmm.
You can't you used to have a telephone repairman come over. And they would send someone out. And granted, there would be issues with that. But you could get your washer dryer fixed, or you could read the manual and you could learn how to fix it yourself. You can't do that anymore. If something happens to your computer or your phone, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. You can maybe go to the Geek Squad, but ultimately you have to get a new computer. You have to get a new computer every couple of years.
But similarly, even if you go to the Geek Squad, you can't be certain that they're being forthright with you.
Right.
Like they could just be upselling you because they just take it into a back room and they come out and say this. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same in fashion, right? Like everyone knows that their H&M clothes fall apart really quickly, but it's not just that. Like your
Mhm.
Gucci, your Prada, these luxury brands are much less well made than they used to be. And like fashion influencers and stuff are now looking for, a pair of Levi's that's 100 years old because it's
Yeah.
still intact and will last you your entire life as compared to a pair of Levi's from 2025, which will last a year if you're lucky. So it's a whole thing.
It's
Anything
deeply
else to say
tragic.
about Crimson Peak?
Other than watching it makes me happy in the moment, but then afterwards puts me in, deep ennui spiral about the state of the world. No,
Yeah.
not much else other than it's incredible and you should go give it a watch. There's a lovely new Blu-ray out from Arrow Video. It looks beautiful.
We love those era video people. Let's play a quick round of how they've seen it on this. This person, we've talked about this episode because they might be compared to Guillermo Del Toro, but they're not anything like him, I would say. Do you think Tim Burton saw Crimson Peak?
I do think he did.
Do you think he was annoyed by it?
I hope he was. It's so funny that people always talk about how Tim Burton lost his sauce, as they say, and
he did
you can
lose
kind of
it.
like
It's gone.
you can track it. You can like watch that happen. You can watch the sauce leave his body. Like
it's like he had just like
the
a
period
limited
of
amount of
films.
sauce and like he could not generate more sauce, and so you're just watching it leak out.
And then and it's like this slowly kind of loose steam, and you're like Sleepy Hollow is good. It's not great, but it's good. It's good. It's working on some things. And then he makes the Planet of the Apes, and you're like, oh Christ! And then he's like, hold on, guys, one more. He uses every ounce in his body to make Big Fish, and you're like, oh hell yeah, you made Big Fish, good for you. And then.
Big Fish is
like
really John August's project too. I mean, that's his original script, and so it's really him.
Yeah,
I don't know. I saw that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I'm like, Tim Burton, I will never forgive you for this. Like, this is a crime against humanity.
But what I was gonna say is that you can watch the decline of Tim Burton, and if you like overlay the like two graphs on top of each other, the rise of Guillermo Del Toro crosses at the exact same time.
That's why I was like, he must be mad at. I wonder if he's mad at this,
or like what like celestial being or like goetic demon that one of them was praying to left one for the other. Like, what muse left one for the other?
Yeah. I think he saw it too.
I think he's definitely seen it. I think he's a big fan of it. I think he is, or at least
vocally
I'm being mean. Of it. But like, yes, I do think he's a fan of it. I think he's seen it. And I think they're friends. I think they're friendly with each other. I've never seen photos of them together, but like,
how could they not be?
How can that? The two guys who make like gothic movies always put Mia Wasikowska and stuff. Adore Mario Bava, and then both make stop motion films. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, the difference is Del Toro doesn't shill for Disney anymore. I mean, I guess I don't know.
Who knows what he'll do?
Two of them are owned by Disney now, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But Disney said no to his Pinocchio, so he said, "Fuck it, it's public domain, bitch." Like,
and then who made the weird one with Pauly Shore in it recently? Do you know what I'm talking about?
With the one with Tom Hanks was Pauly Shore.
An animated. Yeah, he's the voice of Pinocchio, right? Like, it was going viral on Twitter when it came out because there's a clip of Pauly Shore's voice where he's like, "Father, when will I be able to leave out on my own? I have the whole world to see." And it's like definitely Pauly Shore's video. I'm going to put it in right now.
Father, when can I leave to be on my own? I've got the whole world to see. You are
with the recent like pseudo live action but absolutely CGI to high heaven. Pinocchio was the Robert Zemeckis one with Tom Hanks, but it was like a kid voicing Pinocchio.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Anyway, that
I'm gonna edit in that
slop garbage. Yeah, please do. Was immediately trounced upon by Del Toro's better version of Pinocchio that came out the same year, and that everyone watched. So,
he's got kind of history of that because that's kind of what Shape of Water is too, right? They're like, we don't want your Creature from the Black Lagoon. He's like, fuck you, I'm gonna do my own thing then.
Best Picture goes to.
Yeah.
I think Pinocchio also won Oscars too. Anyway, this is another filmmaker who I feel like is both heavily influenced by the same period of films of 1960s Gothic that Del Toro is influenced by, but is also equally influenced by comic books and animation in the way that Guillermo Del Toro is.
Mm-hmm.
And his movies, I don't think he's ever really tackled a Gothic in this way, despite being a massive admirer of these films, but is very well known in the horror genre, and is also very well known for bringing that kind of super stylized animation and comic language to the cinema. Do you think Joe Dante has seen Crimson Peak?
Oh, I love Joe Dante.
I get so happy when I think about Joe Dante. He's such a sweetheart. I adore him.
Love him. Yeah, I think he would have seen this, and I think he would really like this. I feel like Joe Dante sees like
everything,
a lot of things. Yeah. He would really like this. I think it's super fun.
I feel like I'm sure he and Del Toro are very close as well, because a lot of those guys know each other. But I feel like the moment something like this is even like heard about in the trades, Joe Dante like perks up. He hasn't even read it yet. He just wakes up in the morning erect, bodily, not anything else.
Yeah,
straight up out of bed and goes, "Something's happening." I'm sure he's seen this movie many, many, many times. He does run the Trailers from Hell website. And so I don't know if this has been covered on that. I would love to hear his commentary on it. I'm sure he deeply loves this movie.
He's the best. Mm-hmm. Well, let's move on to the second movie. This is directed by Guillermo Del Toro. It came out in 2017 and it won Best Picture that year. It is The Shape of Water. So this is like sort of a sexy version of Creature from the Black Lagoon, where in 1962 Baltimore, Sally Hawkins plays a custodian at like a top secret science laboratory, where they are studying this gillman kind of thing that they found in South America. She is a mute. She lives in an apartment building with her best friend, probably my favorite Richard Jenkins role of all time, as her best friend and landlord. They live above a movie
He's
theater.
not the landlord. He's just her neighbor. And their apartments are just two renovated rooms over the top of a movie theater, who the movie theater owner is the manager. No.
Oh, because the movie theater manager, didn't he say, I'm not going to pay rent if he doesn't fix this during the leak? I guess I just thought that Richard Jenkins owned the building. It doesn't matter, really. I'm sure you're right. Probably my favorite Richard Jenkins role. Octavia Spencer is her dear friend, who's another custodian. And one day they get sent to clean this like locked off, laboratory when Sally Hawkins, whose name is Alyssa, or Eliza, I guess, falls in love with the Gill Man and forms a relationship with him and becomes determined to help him escape, because Michael Shannon plays an evil security overlord who is torturing him and is going to kill him. And all of this is a race against the Soviets, who we, of course, are in a Cold War against. In 1962, they won it for the space race. They want this Gill Man for the space race, which sounds crazy, but it makes sense in the context of the movie. And one of the scientists is secretly a mole for the KGB.
As played by Michael Stuhlbarg, who was having a banner year in 2017.
Great year for him.
Yeah.
And I will say, I think I saw this for the first time this week. I didn't see it in 2017. I just kind of missed it. I really loved it. I would say that Call Me By Your Name should have won Best Picture, specifically because of him. He's like so incredible.
I mean, Phantom Thread also was nominated for Best Picture that year.
Love that movie too.
I adore Shape of Water and Phantom Thread are both 5-star movies to me. I also really love Call Me By Your Name. If I had to choose between the list of things that were nominated, because I don't care about Darkest Hour and Dunkirk, I would have given Best Picture to Phantom Thread. I
would have given it to Call Me By Your Name. But it definitely would be between, I think both Phantom Thread and Call Me By Your Name are better than The Shape of Water. But
I think The Shape of Water is absolutely incredible, and I think the fact that it won Best Picture is
it's cool.
One of the best flukes that's ever happened.
I'm glad a movie like this won Best Picture. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not mad at it.
It also won Best Director. It won so many Oscars. And I remember a few years ago, so Guillermo Del Toro, Alejandro Inarritu, and Alfonso Cuarón are like very good friends. They all came up together making films in Mexico in the mid to late 90s and then launched on the like US scene in the early 2000s. And they've kind of like dubbed themselves in the press the Three Amigos kind of comically. And they're like very good friends. And Alfonso Cuarón won Best Director at the Oscars for Gravity, I think. And it was like a huge deal, and there was photos of the three of them after the award ceremony celebrating his win. And then the next year, Inarritu won Best Director for Birdman. And then it was like, oh my God, two of the Three Amigos now have Best Director Oscars. And I was like, yeah, but the Academy's never going to give fucking Guillermo del Toro an Oscar. Like, that's never going to happen. He makes fucking Hellboy and Crimson Peak. Like, that's never gonna happen. I was like, he's already made Pan's Labyrinth. I feel like that's the one they would possibly give it to him. And then Shape of Water came out, and I remember being super excited again, like new Del Toro movie. I got to see it in the theaters. I think maybe an advanced screening of it or something like that. I saw it very early, and I love his films, and I deeply love Creature in the Black Lagoon. It was one of my favorite movies growing up. Yeah. And I was obsessed with this film. I had no idea what it was going to be when it started. And I was deeply in love and enamored with it. And so when Oscar nominations came out and it was on the list, I was like, well, that's a surprise. That's really nice. But like, that'll never happen. It's like a very stylized, weird movie about a woman who falls in love with a fish man. And also it's a musical. Like, so that's never going to happen. And when it won, I lost my mind. I think this and Parasite were the two most like shocking surprise winners.
God, Parasite made me so happy when that won. Same with Moonlight. Again, I actually am a La La Land defender. I really like La La Land.
I really like it too. But when Moonlight won, I was also like over the moon.
It deserved it. Speaking of musicals, this is set in 1962 Baltimore, which is the same year and place that John Waters' Hairspray is set. And so I like to imagine that they're happening simultaneously on opposite ends of Baltimore.
You know what? You could be right. Very much about Eliza's existence in this is that she sleeps during the day because of her night shift job, and then has to like get up at like 10 o'clock and then go in to like mop this research facility. And so she leads this weird nocturnal existence where it's like almost constantly nighttime in Baltimore. So, you know, it could become day. She could go to bed, and then
Tracy's
the
waking
hair
up for
hoppers could come
out.
Richard Jenkins is always like flicking through the TV to try and find musicals. He could find the show that she was on. Like,
Corny Collins show.
Yeah, the Corny Collins show could pop on.
He would hate the Corny Collins show.
Yes, he would hate the Corny Collins show.
He likes old Hollywood musicals. I love his performance.
He likes Betty Grable.
I love him so much. 6 Feet Under is my favorite show of all time. He's an actor I just adore. And this is maybe my favorite role. And I guess as an aging gay, I felt very sensitive to his performance in this. He's like struggling with getting older. He wears a toupee. That's sort of comical. He's in love with like a boy who works at a diner who sells him pie. And that whole story is so sad. He's also in love with an advertising executive who's taking advantage of him and doesn't love him back. And like his whole story to me is just so, it really hit me where I live.
He's like he's a commercial illustrator, so he's like doing illustrations for like,
it's like really the Salvatore story from Mad Men. Really,
I haven't seen Mad Men. I need to watch Mad Men still.
This exact story is in Mad Men, basically.
It really touches me because I mean, both I work creating art for marketing purposes, but B, my great grandfather, who also was a scientist and did work for the government in the 60s. No idea what that was, but before that he was he lived in Indiana and Ohio, and he was a commercial illustrator, and he created a lot of brand identity and packaging for local brands there. But the one that stood the test of time is the Ohio blue tip matches.
Oh, really?
That he like designed and illustrated all of the branding and the logo and all the marketing purposes. And so I always keep a pack of Ohio Blue Tips in my house because of that. But yeah, I find that character so deeply, deeply touching. He also like kind of gives you the opening and closing narration, so it's kind of presented as like he's the one telling you the story. This is, you know, a legend from his perspective. But he leads like a really gentle, sweet existence. He lives above a movie theater, which I guess in your read he owns and rents out. I don't know. I don't think he does, because the theater manager talking to Eliza calls Richard Jenkins her friend up there. So I don't know.
Okay.
But he sits around, he like draws all day. He's got his cats. He watches old Betty Grable musicals. And
it's life.
And then there's a diner that serves pie across the street, and it's implied the pie is really bad because it comes off the back of a truck. But like, still, granted, the boy he's kind of infatuated with that sells the pie is a horrible homophobe and racist. So that doesn't work out.
Yeah, he has a fake Southern accent. And he's a homophobic racist.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
Yeah, I mean, it's so sad to watch somebody fall in love with someone who doesn't love them back and is just being polite because it's their job. You know what I mean? That sucks.
Yeah.
We've all been down that path, I feel like. I
so deeply loved this movie when it came out. And kind of like Crimson Peak, I absolutely watched it like 5 or 6 times around the year of its release. I was working at a company that one of the coworkers got was a member of SAG, and so got screeners, and so would just like loan them out to people. And I think the screener of Shape of Water like lived on my desk for like months as I was.
I just watched mine. I've had the screener since 2017 in my cupboard, and I just watched it this week.
And so I watched it so much at the time that it became a part of me. That and the other Sally Hawkins movie about her forming an emotional bond with, an anthropomorphic creature, the Paddington films.
I've never seen those. I thought she was. I hear they're really good, and there's the third one coming out. I just saw the poster for it last night. I thought she was extraordinary in this movie.
She is deeply, deeply amazing. The fact that she didn't win the Oscar is a little sad.
That's crazy to me. She's so good in this. The whole cast is just like, I mean, Octavia Spencer's so good, and Michael Stuhlbarg,
great as always.
Michael Shannon with his fucked up fingers. I mean, this is a great movie. Yeah. It's so good. Yeah. So early on, the creature has bitten off 2 of his fingers, which Eliza has managed to save for him. But they're like sewn on, and he doesn't know if they're going to take or not. And they do not take. They're just like slowly rotting over the movie. That's stink.
Another thing, sort of like the red clay deposits in Crimson Peak that like he's
represents
thinking visually
his emotional state.
Yeah, and he's like externalizing both the emotional state and like his overall thematic read on the character and like the American government kind of, and that vision of America as a whole, that like it's there, and look, it's all this is the perfect prim man, and this is the perspective of like masculinity and America and all of these things, and it's the like silhouette is filled in, but it's rotting, like it's falling apart.
I love the communism stuff in this. I am pretty interested in like the Soviet Union, just like kind of academically. And like, I loved that show, The Americans, so much. I was thinking about that a lot. And at some point, I mean, granted, my politics, I'm a lefty, I'm a socialist, Bernie bro. And at some point in the movie, I was like, was the Soviet Union the good guys this whole time? Because he's so much nicer than Michael Shannon is. So I had to Google it and be like, Google, was the Soviet Union the good guys? And no, they weren't. Reminder that they had like gulags and mass starvation and total corruption. And of course, like, oh, yes. I remember now.
Yeah, Stalin was like very bad as well. But I do think it's really, I mean, kind of subversive for a Hollywood film to be presenting it that way, which I think is great. But I think it's also presenting the way in which the Russian Soviet spies are operating to similarly be bereft of humanity.
Yeah.
Despite Michael Stuhlbarg, but that they are being kind of waylaid by the exact same inner workings of politics and of bureaucracy that Michael Shannon's character is. So like Michael Stuhlbarg is literally stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's like both of them are operating similarly. One is just operating larger and louder with more money, and the other one's clandestine. There's like a kind of running gag. There's a lot of really great humorous gags. So this movie has a lot of humor and heart in it, which I think is part of the great balance of it. But whenever Michael Stuhlbarg has to go meet his kind of KGB associates, he has to like wait out in the middle of nowhere for really long before they finally come pick him up. And there's like a code phrase they have to say to each other that they can never hear because it's super loud there. And he just gets pissed off and just walks into the car anyway. He's like, you know me, we don't have to do this.
And then they always go to the same restaurant
every time.
He's like, this is always the same place. Yeah. It is interesting that his character is the good guy and Michael Shannon capitalist character is like the bad guy between the two of them, you know? I love him so much. I think that not to get back to this other movie, but like his monologue at the end of Call Me By Your Name is one of the best written and performed movie monologues of all time.
I know.
Top 10. It destroyed me for weeks, that monologue.
It's the core of that movie.
It absolutely is.
Like a lot of other Luca Guadagnino movies, the like final 15 minutes of it, you're like, oh, this is the movie right here. This is it.
It's like such an extraordinarily written monologue, and it's straight from the book. And then the way he performs it is just so simple and devastating, and like just thinking about it can make me cry if I think about it too hard.
Similar to Mia Wasikowska, I also feel like we haven't seen Michael Stuhlbarg in a minute, despite the fact that he had like a really banner year in like. By the way, he was also in The Post, which was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
He was in 3 of the Best Picture nominees that year, which is insane.
I hope he's in Hawaii or something nice. I hope he's just having the best time somewhere.
Unless the Coen brothers finally make that long-awaited sequel to A Serious Man.
Yeah. This movie reminded me a lot. I've been thinking about this movie a lot, and I guess it's time for a rewatch. Amelie from 2000.
Oh, I love literally. So I of course saw this movie when it came out, and Ivory saw it when it came out, and another friend of mine. But one of my best friends in the world somehow missed it when it came out in 2016, 2017, but she was living with me at the time. So I'm like, how did you not see it? And so we went over to her place to watch it with her and her boyfriend. And when we left, Ivory and I were reminiscing about Shape of Water and how it's been a few years since we've seen it. And Ivory was literally like, it reminds me so much of every single Jeunet Caro movie. Like it looks like it's got so much of like Delicatessen and Amelie in there.
Totally does.
In the production design, but also in the way that Sally Hawkins is directed. She's kind of like performing like a slightly older Audrey Tautou. And one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie, which feels like it could easily be from Delicatessen and Amelie, is when she's sitting on the couch with Richard Jenkins watching a musical, and they're doing the footwork together. Without getting up from the couch. It's one of the sweetest, most precious scenes of all time. And this movie really is like a miracle of construction because it shouldn't work. It's mixing in like Golden Age musical with that like 90s stylized like twee rom-com perspective of those films that and then we're also bringing in The Creature in the Black Lagoon. Some
sort of like 50s B sci-fi
and
aesthetics.
Then on top of that, we're bringing in a bit of like 50s, 60s film noir and like 60s spy film to a degree. And we're getting glimpses into... One of the things I love about this movie is that we get glimpses into the like internal lives of every single one of the characters. We see Richard Jenkins' house. We see Michael Shannon's house. We see Michael Stuhlbarg's house. We see Octavia Spencer's house. We see how all of these people live. We get glimpses into all of their lives, and they are all separately living in different genres. Richard Jenkins is living obsessed with musicals. She's living in this sweet Audrey Tautou existence. The Gill Man is, of course, living this Creature in the Black Lagoon existence. Michael Shannon and Michael Stuhlbarg are living in kind of different versions of 60s thrillers,
like sort of spy movies.
The Man Who Came In From the Cold and all those like Richard Burton movies and things like that. And Octavia Spencer is living in like a domestic drama from that time, and there's like a heist in the middle of all of it too.
Yeah,
and it does all of it effortlessly. It just like it's able to move between them with just a flick of its wrist and with humor in every single move, so that when Michael Shannon rips his fingers off, or when
that's such an excruciating moment,
characters get shot, or things, horrible violent things happen, which it's a Del Toro movie, there's going to be excessive gore. It still like works within the tapestry. And I think one of the most important things a director can do, and one of the hardest things for a director to do, is establish and maintain tonal balance in a film. Because as we mentioned last week with Innocence, a movie is made 3 times. It's made and remade, from writing to production to edit. And at every single stage of The Shape of Water's production to its release, that is all being overseen and maintained by Del Toro. He has that like wide, long view of the movie in mind, and isn't getting too caught up in scenes, and isn't being waylaid by one thing or another. And this movie is able to like go into a full Astaire and Rogers musical number and still land the mark. And I think that is one of the single most impressive directing feats in so long.
It's
and I
so
think he's
hard.
Wildly deserves the Best Director Oscar for this movie.
I really appreciated how horny this movie is. Like the sex scene with Michael Shannon and his wife, I was like, oh my God, he's got a great ass, first of all. And it's like,
yes, he does. He's still wearing the socks, and he puts his dead fingers in her mouth.
I know. She's like, you're bleeding on me. And he's like, I just want you to be silent. And he tries to, because he's got a crush on Sally Jenkins. Or Sally Hawkins.
Well, I don't know if he does or not, or if that he just generally doesn't want.
Well, he's like intrigued by it, at least, because he tells his wife to be silent because Sally Hawkins is a mute, right?
Which I mean, there's 2 ways of reading it. I think that is absolutely one of them. And I think the first time I saw it that way. When I watched it this time, I was thinking that like, oh, this is just what this guy is like. He just doesn't want his wife
to make noises.
Like that's how he is when he has sex. And so when he meets Sally Hawkins, and with more exposure to her throughout the movie, he gets aroused by her because he has a pre-existing. I don't know. One feeds into the other. They could be the same, but it does culminate in him calling her into his office and like
trying to.
You think it's about the heist of the Gill Man that she has pulled, but instead, no, he's just tried to sexually assault her.
Right. And then she has all these like crazy love scenes with the Gill Man that are pretty horny. I mean, she's naked the first time we see her in this movie, basically. And then
she masturbates every morning.
She masturbates every morning to a timer. It's like, you can't give yourself more than 5 minutes or whatever. But she's a busy woman. I get it. And
if you think it takes 5 minutes to boil a hard-boiled egg, you are sorely mistaken. It's like
it takes 11 minutes. 11 minutes exactly to make a hard-boiled egg. Yeah.
Depends on what kind of egg center you want, I guess.
I like it hard-boiled. I don't like it runny. She mimes to Octavia Spencer what the Gill Man's dick is like. It comes out of a hole, which is a delight.
Yeah.
And then she fills the bathroom with water so she can have sex underwater, which I think is kind of a shitty move. Like, if I'm Richard Jenkins, I'm like, we are not friends anymore. Yeah.
Because it's a very old building.
Yeah.
And as soon as she starts doing it, the camera like glides vertically down as the water like seeps between the open floorboards into the movie theater down below.
And as we've established in this episode, I care about old buildings more than people. So I feel like, get the fuck out of here. You're not my friend anymore. I don't really. I'm being sarcastic. Listen.
There's so many lovely touches, both visually and from a writing perspective in this movie. Just simply them living above a movie theater, there is kind of an escapist, fantasist degree to both of their characters that also informs the overall narrative that I think is really lovely. There's a scene in which the Gilman escapes.
Goes straight to the movies.
And he stands there alone, standing vertical, just standing upright, like enraptured by the screen, which is one of the most gorgeous and haunting images to me. But there's also little bits of writing in the screenplay for this movie by Del Toro and Vanessa Taylor is so good. The movie opens with first of all the like transition from like water into their hallway, and then her with all her entire apartment underwater as she sleeps is such a gorgeous opening.
Yeah.
But we get her like morning ritual and routine, and she goes to see Richard Jenkins, and there's sirens in the background, and he's telling her that the chocolate factory at the end of the road caught fire earlier in the day, and like while she was asleep, and describes the like that's obviously a tragedy, it's a horrible thing, and like people are going to like put out the fire, but he's like, but we get the smell of toasted cocoa and it's really sweet. And it's a really like lovely sweet detail that like I first of all, I don't see anyone else putting into the script, but B, I can also see so many studio executives being like circling it with a red pencil, being like, why is this here, what does this do, what does this mean,
right,
cut it out, we don't need this. And I think it is so marvelous, and we get it a little bit in the production design. I'm sure it's like CGI in the background, the fire when she leaves her, but we do get a full fire truck drive past. So like some production budget was put into this.
They did build that whole city block,
which is insane,
where the theater is. Yeah,
it's amazing. And I think little elements like that kind of again speak to the like this overall kind of escapist romanticist trait that both of them share, that the movie shares, is really, really, really lovely. And I think finding ways of sewing that in, both in the production design and in the dialogue, is just magical. I think it's those touches that are the grace note that makes this movie as great as it is.
Yeah. I think I thought of Amelie because of the interiors of their building. Lots of reds and deep greens. And then also because remember Amelie is friends with that old man who's recreating that painting over and over again.
Yeah. Well, that's her. Isn't that her father that paints the same thing?
No, she goes to visit her father. This is like her neighbor who lives across the street, I believe. It's been 20 years. But he's like got glass bones, so he doesn't leave his house, and he just recreates the same painting over and over and over again.
It's so sweet. I love that.
Yeah. Great movie.
I love the like extension of green in the production design, and like it's again all the way informed to the dialogue in this movie.
I love her bathroom so much.
Fucking obsessed with that bathroom. It's so fucking beautiful. The green tile, everything is green. Of course, when they go get pie, it has to be key lime pie, and it's that like gelatinous radioactive
disgusting
green pie from like Natural Born Killers, where you're like, you can't eat that will kill you.
Southern delicacy.
But even like there's a scene where Michael Shannon goes to buy a new car because he's feeling good about himself, and he goes to buy a new Cadillac, and he gets talked into buying, it's not green, it's teal. And then everyone's like, I love your green car. And there's so many lines about how like, oh, the Jell-O that Richard Jenkins is drawing for an ad, the client doesn't like red, they want it to be green. The future is green. Everyone keeps saying the future is green. And I just love those. Everything in the lab is green. The bus she takes every day is green. Again, like we were saying about like the concept of monoculture, the idea that like, it's 1962. Pantone has decided the color of the year is green. Paint everything green this year.
It's literally true. I mean, you can mark a time period to like the appliances in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Like, so like this brand, 1962, we're doing all green. 1963, it's going to be all orange. You know what I mean? Like, it really was like that.
And I mean, I dig that. I think that's amazing.
I do too.
That's great.
Yeah, it's great.
It makes for a more colorful existence. I think it's lovely. Green is used in films always to kind of denote otherworldliness or sickliness or horror, and it's always seen. I mean, occasionally, you know, nature and naturalism and like a connection to the earth, and I think he's using pieces of that, but the one thing green is never really used to associate with is like warmth and like gentleness, and he pulls that off here, which I also think is a massive feat. Like,
I mean,
get a lot of like ambers and like golden hues like that, like complement that, but he really kind of transforms green in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, green is thought of that in like interior design. Interior designers a lot of them will tell you that green is a neutral. But yeah, that's widely thought of as like organic, natural, comfort feeling in interior design. But you're right about the way it's used in film generally. And also like red rooms. Like again, like there's some red rooms in this, and that is common in the movie Amelie, and red rooms were really in style in interiors in the 90s and haven't been in style again until now. Like now in the 2020s, they're kind of becoming a thing again. I don't know where I'm going with this. I like interior design.
We love interior design.
I love the interior.
I mean, in the mid 2000s, I remember the big thing was accent walls. Oh my God, you're gonna have an all white room, and then one wall will be blue, and you're like,
so
what are
stupid.
you doing?
So stupid.
The worst.
The worst thing.
I think of all the Del Toro movies, this is the one I would want to live in, because this is the one where like people are living their lives successfully. Like any other one, you're like, you're in the Spanish Civil War, or like you're in like haunted ghost Edith Wharton Victorian era, which like, unless you have millions of dollars, wouldn't be easy to get by in. But I
don't want to be a janitor or a scientist though.
No, we would be living Richard Jenkins' existences.
Yeah.
We'd be living above a movie theater. And you know, it's also interesting to me because there's again a lot of like, it's 60s, it's Cold War, there's a lot of like influx of modernity. So there's a lot of, with the pie place across the street, it's like, oh yeah, we don't bake them here, they're shipped in on truck, it's the new way, it's the future, it's a new thing called franchising.
Yeah, they
gave us the signs, everything like that. And Richard Jenkins is an illustrator, and he's illustrating a Jell-O ad, and the person at the ad agency who like kind of seems like they used to have a relationship or something like that, they know each other's secret to a degree, who's trying to get him work but unsuccessfully, is saying that like they want photos. Photography is the new thing now. They all want photography. And it's so funny that in my industry, which is again also like doing like producing art for marketing and stuff like that, it's still primarily photography, but there is such a niche for illustration. There's such a like beautiful like need for illustration all the time, and I'm constantly being asked by people to recommend illustrators for stuff like that. And I know
Corey Brickley.
Yeah. Always going to recommend Corey, and I'm always going to recommend Mark Aspinall, who does give the 60s style. And I just, it's so interesting to me, the like perspective that like it absolutely was an industry, a massive industry that was being killed, but at the same time, like in the 1960s, there was still so much more illustrated art in the world than there is now. It wasn't nearly as niche. And like, I want to walk into that little apartment above the movie theater and be like, Richard Jenkins, let me get you a contract with a film studio. You need to be like drawing the next James Bond poster, please.
I always thought of that in the movie Xanadu, which I love so much, where, his job is that he works in a farm where people like paint album covers. And I was like, was this ever a thing? I guess it must have been.
Well, because they design the album cover and then they hand it to these guys and they paint like the giant billboard version.
The billboards and stuff. Yeah.
That's my favorite part of Xanadu. If Xanadu
There's
was
a lot to love
just
about
that,
Xanadu, but
I would love it.
Well, except their boss is mean.
Yeah. But if it was just a film about him and going to his job, I'd watch 5 hours of it.
I love the beginning when he's like, oh man, guys like me shouldn't dream anyways. And he like tears it up and you follow the paper as it flows through the sky. What a stupid movie. I love it.
Xanadu's a piece of shit.
Totally shitty movie that I adore. I think the music is legitimately really good, but I love Electric Light Orchestra. So
I am obsessed with Yellow. We should then, I guess, quickly say that the music in The Shape of Water is incredible, and the use of
good.
The use of musicals and music in this movie is part of, again, that kind of like Amelie magic that this movie has. I think it's incredible.
I loved it. I really, really loved this movie.
I'm so glad you finally got it. I didn't know you hadn't seen it before. I'm so glad you finally crossed it off your list.
I always meant to. It's not like I didn't want to see it. I just hadn't gotten around to it for some reason,
Yeah, you're just not as attracted to fish people as I am. I will also say, when I was watching this with my friends the other day, my friend was like, midway through the movie, was like, how do you think Michael Shannon feels that the hottest man in this movie is a fish?
I knew you were going to say something like this because I find it deeply revolting, and I knew that you were going to be like, he's hot, because I know that a lot of people felt that. I think it's so gross. I think he's disgusting. I don't like it. He smells nasty. I don't like it at all.
First of all, Doug Jones is outrageously sexy.
Yeah, but he's in a Gillman costume here. You don't even see Doug Jones.
But it's the physicality of Doug Jones, which, like, awesome. It reads. There's a scene where, like, I think they were like performing the heist or whatever, and Michael Stuhlbarg like sees him in full for the first time. And he like stands up out of the water, and he's like cut and like, I don't know.
He has a swimmer's build, which is hot.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is all there for a reason. I think it all works, but also like I love Michael Shannon. I think Michael Shannon's an incredible actor, but also, and I do think Michael Shannon is attractive. I do think he's hot, but
gorgeous.
He gives off a vibe that I'm like, I don't know if I would be comfortable being alone in a room with you. Yeah,
I've met him. Like, he came to see my play at Steppenwolf.
Really?
And he said he really liked it. Yeah.
That's lovely.
He's a Chicago Steppenwolf guy.
He's a huge Steppenwolf guy, yeah.
Yeah.
There is, of course, the famous meme, of, like, actual photo of the night of the Oscars that Shape of Water won Best Picture, that Michael Shannon was at a dive bar in Chicago. They had the Oscars on TV.
That's so cute.
He couldn't be fucked to go. I love that.
Well, let's play Have They Seen It on this one, the game where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen this movie. This person popped into my head out of the clear blue sky. She's an indie film darling, although night and day different from anyone we've talked about today. I'm talking about the writer-director Nicole Holofcener, who made Lovely and Amazing and Friends with Money and other sort of quiet mumblecore indie comedy dramas.
I love her films.
I love her too. I'm a big fan. Do you think she has seen this? She's a character in BoJack Horseman too, which I love. Like so as herself. Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes. I
mean, it won Best Picture.
That's the other thing. I feel like everyone in Hollywood other than you has already seen this movie.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's in, and I think she loves it. I really love when artists who produce one kind of a work deeply love and appreciate work that seems so different, really out from there. It makes me really, really happy. Sort of like how like Noah Baumbach, who also like comes from like a 90s mumblecore era and still makes very like small, intimate like character comedies and dramas and stuff like that, is like very good friends with Brian De Palma and is the one who made the documentary on Brian De Palma. I'm always like, yeah, that's sweet. That's cool. Awesome. I like that you can like make Marriage Story and Frances Ha and then still go home and watch Body Double, That's the vibe.
I think most people who love movies ideally have a broad taste. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's whenever people are like, I don't like that, I like this, or whatever, or like filmmakers that are like, I don't watch movies, can go fuck off.
Yeah, totally.
Like, if you're like, I make this and I only watch this and this is my thing, like, you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're getting the full range of human experience?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me at all.
This person is also a director, but is also an actor and pops up in things occasionally. He has directed a movie that I wasn't even thinking about until I just started thinking about whether or not he'd seen this, that kind of has a vaguely similar rainy mid-century industrial visual language to this, but is mostly more well-known for his kind of like 90s youthful crime breakout film La Haine. The other kind of more gothic one I was mentioning would be the movie Gothica with Robert Downey Jr. And that's the director Matthew Kassovitz, the French director, who is also an actor and who plays the love interest in Amelie.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the same person.
Yeah. The director of Gothica he's adorable.
He's really cute.
That little twink directed La Haine.
That's crazy. I did not know that at all. I never connected these people.
He put Vincent Cassel on the map, other than, Vincent Cassel's dad.
Yeah.
Do you think Matthew Kassovitz has seen Shape of Water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's an Oscar-winning movie, so I would guess yes.
Yeah, but I mean, he's like based in France and stuff like that. But also to a degree, I'm sure that like Shape of Water was also a huge hit in France in the same way it was.
It had to have been.
Yeah.
You know what I like about him? I like a man that has like kind of a big nose. You know? I think that's sexy.
Yeah, I get that. Is that why you don't like the Gill Man? Is that because he's got no nose? Is that he's just
part
of
a
flat face?
Also, he's like a fish with no visible genitalia.
So if his genitalia was visible, because he does have genitalia,
he does.
He had genitalia and he had a
out.
schnoz, would you be into him?
No, the eyes. It's kind of a part of a package. It's like that's not appealing to me.
It is
not to be problematic, but I would never fuck somebody outside of my species.
Wow.
Sorry.
Okay. Specious. Okay. I do think it is the line that is walked in this movie between her treating him like a pet and like a partner is adorable to me. They're like, here's his fish food. You need to put it in like once a day. He needs this much water in his tank. Like she's adopting him from the shelter.
I'm for it in the context of this movie. This person passed away last year, and it was very sad. I think it was last year. I wonder if Shelley Duvall saw this.
Oh, Shelley. Oh my God. I could absolutely see a version of this being made in the 80s starring Shelley Duvall.
She would have been great.
She would have been incredible. Oh my God. Oh, the Shelley Duvall Shape of Water. I want it so bad.
I know.
Oh my God.
Now, she was having a lot of mental health issues the last few years of her life, so it's possible that she would have missed this.
Yeah, I don't know how.
She was living in a weird town in Texas.
She did. She got out of her house, but not that often. She didn't really get out of that town very often. But I know she was watching stuff because I know people came over to visit her a lot, and they would watch her movies with her. They would watch Three Women with her and stuff like that, which precious. So I don't know if she was keeping up on this. I don't know if she had streaming. I doubt it.
Yeah.
I hope. I really hope that one of her friends that came over to visit her would have brought a copy of Shape of Water to show her.
Yeah, she would have liked this a lot.
I think she would have loved this movie. I have no evidence that she's seen it. I can't say empirically if she has or not, but I'm just gonna go with my gut and say I hope she did.
I think she probably liked both things that were quirky because she was quirky, and I also think she probably really liked sweet things. And this movie is very sweet.
I also I think the level of filmmaking, and the aesthetic values of it, I think she would deeply, deeply enjoy. I mean, she was a kid in 1962, so I don't know how that would hit her, but I think she would love it.
Yeah, me too.
This movie is, of course, set in Baltimore, and there is no greater Baltimore filmmaker than the Pope of Trash himself, John Waters. Yeah. I know he sees everything.
Yeah.
And he always puts it a best of list. I don't remember if Shape of Water was on his best of list or not.
I kind of feel like I'm sure he saw it.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like he wouldn't like this movie.
Yeah.
And here's why. My only criticism of this movie is that I kind of wish it were less commercial. And especially the third act feels very commercial to me. Like they literally sign language you and me together to each other. And like I thought it was kind of like a sappy moment that I didn't really love. I wasn't moved by it. I was like, oh, that's a little cornball. So I think weirdly, this movie for John Waters would be like too commercial and too Hollywood.
Yeah. I did find his list of his favorite movies of 2017. This movie's not on there.
Yeah.
So who's to say? I'm sure he saw it. But his number one movie, speaking of like commercial, like super Hollywood movies, his number one movie of 2017 was Baby Driver.
Oh my God. That's so funny. Maybe he did like this movie. I deeply hated Baby Driver. I thought it was aggressively annoying.
I love Baby Driver. I'm with John Waters on this one. But he also put Woody Allen's Wonder Wheel on that list.
Makes sense, I guess.
Bertrand Bonello's Nectarama and Todd Haynes' Wonderstruck, which no one saw Wonderstruck. So
I saw Wonderstruck. I really hated it, and I love Todd Haynes. It's his only bad movie that I've ever seen. I thought it was actively bad.
Yeah, so there are some like big Hollywood movies on there, and some more already stuff too. But yeah, Shape of Water's not on there. So yes, I'm sure he saw it, but I guess there's a word in which John Waters doesn't like Shape of Water. Even though he likes two movies you hate, one of which I love to be on the right side of history.
Listen, thank you so much for spending 3 years with us.
I genuinely can't believe that people have.
I'm shocked that we're doing this still. Like, for what? Other than it's really fun and I love doing it.
It is really fun and I love doing it. I love spending time with you and I love having a little Sunday morning church together.
Yeah. This is like God for us.
God is the Zoom call between two people. But also, like, again, I know we've mentioned this before, but like it's a sign of like how much has evolved in 3 years. We've now like done commentary tracks for Error Video. We did Long Kiss Goodnight and Dress to Kill for them, which are available for pre-order now. But like, I still can't. That wouldn't have been possible without the people that listen to this, and because we wouldn't be doing this, we wouldn't like the word of mouth wouldn't get it into people's ears and things like that. So thank you so much to everyone who does listen to this, and I hope our rambling about interior design and pickles and things that are absolutely not connected to the film.
Release the pickle cut.
You're the one who cut the pickle. I mean,
yeah, listen.
Get to it eventually.
I would like for us, here's my wish going forward. I would like for us to figure out how to do at least one screening, like live screening.
Absolutely. If anyone in the LA area, or fuck it, we'll go to Chicago or Portland, I guess, wants to put on a Bloodhaus screening, let's get that.
Hit us up.
Let's make that happen.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode. Please rate it 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. You can email us at bloodhauspod@gmail.com, and you can follow us for now on Instagram, although that might be short-lived. Drusilla, where are you these days?
You can find me and my work over at sisterhidedesign.com. And you can also follow me on Letterboxd if you look for Drusilla Adeline or Sister Hyde. You can follow me over there and all of the like Mexican and Argentine noir films I've been watching. And you can also, again, for the time being, follow me on Instagram at Sister Hyde. What about you, Josh? How can people watch you from within your tank.
I am at Joshua Conkel on Letterboxd, Blue Sky, and Instagram. Next week, we are going down under for a deeply underrated, underseen movie that Drusilla and I are both giant fans of.
Oh, yeah.
What are we watching?
We are revisiting one of, if not the best director Australia has ever produced. We've discussed him on the show before, and he has made a number of incredible, notable films, both in Australia and here in Hollywood. This one gets overlooked time and again because it falls between a few of his masterpieces, and it's a small film. It's absolutely up the Bloodhaus alley. And if you are excited to watch a woman beset by a handyman and have some class consciousness evoked, get ready, because here comes The Plumber.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that one. See you next week. Thank you. Bye.